The following is a CryptoCurrencyWire audio production. CryptoCurrencyWire is one of 50-plus trusted brands from the Investor Brand Network, IBN. As a multifaceted financial news and publishing company, Investor Brand Network uses its network of more than 5,000 key distribution outlets, as well as other corporate communication tools, to introduce public and private companies to a wide audience of investors, consumers, journalists, and the general public. Our reputation for highly efficient communication strategies is based on the experience and relationships our team has in the space. It is Investor Brand Network's unwavering commitment to connect the investment community with companies that have great potential and a strong dedication to building shareholder value. The following interview may feature a client partner of Investor Brand Network. Investor Brand Network may have been compensated for the production of this interview. Please be sure to read our entire disclaimer for full disclosure.
Thank you all for joining us for our interview with Mario Nawfal. He is the co-founder of NFT Technologies and has one of the largest followings in the Web3 space. Mario, I'd love to get started by going over your personal journey in crypto. How did you first get into it?
I got into crypto in 2017. I had a big e-commerce business that was doing really well, but I just got bored with my life. So I'm like, let me find a new challenge. And I've just been watching Bitcoin for a while. I should have owned a lot of them, but long story short, I didn't. And I launched IBC, which is now one of the largest incubators and media empires in the space. And the rest is history. So we started as a consulting firm, later become a marketing agency, you can call us, and then became an incubator in 2021.
Gotcha. And I know that you're really well known for your roundtables on Twitter, but I'm not sure many of our listeners even know what a Twitter roundtable is. So can you tell us just a little bit about them and some of your favorite discussions taking place?
Yeah, man. So I used to be really big on Clubhouse. So a lot of people know my voice, but don't know how I look beyond that picture. I used to have the same picture everywhere. And I saw the power of live, even live audio, but live in general. And Clubhouse was insane. Like anyone that was in Clubhouse knew me. And to this day, even though I stopped in February 2020 or 2019 at the peak, I think it was 2019, even though I stopped back then at the peak and then it collapsed, people to this day stop me at events, sometimes on the street, said, hey, you're Mario. So the reason I saw the power of just live interaction is the conversion rate. So I remember on Clubhouse, I'll tell people, hey, please take your phone, take a selfie and send it to me via DM. I would be flooded. There'd be like 2,000 listeners live in the room at a time. So in total would have like 10,000, 15,000 people in a day in one show, but 2,000 at a time concurrent. And I'd get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of DMs of people actually taking a photo, a selfie. So I realized the influence you have when you have people's attention. And podcasts are very similar to that, but when it's live, it's just different. So I started Twitter Spaces when it first launched. We had the biggest space back then on all of Twitter. Then I took a break to take NFT Tech, the company, public. And I started again a few months ago, mid this year. And now it's the biggest space or biggest room in Web3. And essentially, if you go on Twitter right now, anyone listening, if you go on your Twitter app and you go to your homepage, I think, you'll see audio rooms on the top. Check them out. They're actually pretty cool. And you can do one of your own. It's hard to get big ones. Most of them are pretty small, but we have Hunter Biden coming on in a few days. We've had Michael Bay come on. We've had the Pink Floyd's drummer, and that's people outside of Web3. In Web3, we've had pretty much everyone come on the show.
That's incredible. And I definitely want to get into, the Web3 discussion. Let's start off with, how would you define the metaverse?
I've got a very simple definition, and I don't understand why people still cannot define it, because it's not really that complicated, at least not for me. Maybe because I've spoken about it around the world for well over a year now. I'm even doing a lecture on it at a university in a week. So maybe that's why I'm so comfortable with the definition. But it seems a lot of people still struggle to define it. It's not that complicated. I'll tell you where it gets complicated. The metaverse is simply a digital representation of the physical world we live in today. That's it. Imagine everything you do on a daily basis here, making friends, signaling your identity, trying to make money, entertainment, will just replicate them in a digital world. That's the metaverse for you. I usually add at the end of it without predetermined physics. I always add that at the end, because in the physical world, you have physics. You know, I can't jump off my balcony here without dying. So in the metaverse, we create physics within the code. You can fly, you can teleport, you can do whatever the metaverse allows you to do. So essentially, it's just a virtual world. Now, if you think about it, we already live in the metaverse. Like, we're talking right now, and I'm pretty tuned out from everything around me. I'm just with you. And I was thinking earlier today, every time I'm in a car, I genuinely don't pay attention to anything. I just know I just sit in the car, I'm still in, like, on my phone in that world, and I arrive to a destination. And what was funny is that there's a certain route that I take almost daily to do all my biohacking and medical stuff that I do every day. I take it every day in Dubai. And a week ago, I realized that I saw something, and I've never seen this building. And I'm like, no way. I drive past that building every day for months now, every time I'm in Dubai. And then I realized that I'm so tuned out, I don't even look at my surroundings. And today I was thinking back in the old days where I'm driving in a car and you look outside the window and you enjoy things. Oh, what's this? Oh, and start like imagining things. But now, because you're in that virtual world, you're always tuned in. I always have my AirPods in everywhere I go. I've got 3 AirPods all the time because I can't not be tuned into that web world. I have to be in there 24/7. I'm tuned out of the physical world. So technically, we're already living that digital representation of the physical world. Now, where the confusion happens is decentralization. Because right now we're using Zoom, a central entity. We go on YouTube, we go on TikTok, we go on Instagram. They're all central. The open metaverse, which is for me the real definition of the metaverse, and later on we'll just call it the metaverse, but we'll mean the open metaverse, is essentially a digital world where you can own things as well. That's where people get confused. I own this headset. I own this band, this Whoop band, because it's on my wrist. I own it. If I had a watch, I'd own the watch as well. I own the shorts because I'm wearing them. I own everything in my room, in my house. They're all mine because they're in my place of, you know, where I live. But in the digital world, you cannot own things, but now you can because of NFTs. So NFTs allows you to own things in a digital world, which allows you to live a completely digital experience without having to depend on any central entities. Decentralized metaverse and open metaverse. For me, that's what a metaverse is. A digital representation of the physical world, which includes ownership without predetermined physics.
Incredible. Yeah, I really like the contrast that you're drawing between, you know, what we consider the real world and then, of course, the metaverse, which would be more of a digital representation. But let's get into the full custody conversation. Many of the listeners are trading stocks. They may have bought Bitcoin, but it's still on Coinbase or some other exchange. Let's dive deeper into that side. Why is full custody so important? Maybe even explain what that even is.
So it's I'm not that excited about full custody. I am, but I'm not. Why? Because it's gonna cause us a lot of issues in the short term. A lot of people are going to lose. Like, I was introducing a big art collector to NFTs. I'm like, all right, this is your private key. Make sure you never lose it. She's gonna lose it. I saved it for her, but I'm like, hey, you cannot keep using this wallet because I own, like, I have your private key. She's like, okay, but can you just, can I change it? I'm like, no, you cannot change. So the concept of full custody is very, you know, we're not used to it as a species, especially the way we've lived over the last few decades. So most people in crypto use exchanges to custody their assets. Now, that's why in the short term, I'm excited about it, but I know it's going to cause us hurdles as we get adoption. Now, where custody gets really exciting is when you start leveraging the application of what it means. So now you can own an asset. So let's look at gaming. We're investing heavily in Web3 or open games. Let's call them Web3 games. Players can now own a spaceship. That means no one can take it away from them. And as the metaverse gets more interoperable, so you can move assets from one to another. Example, you can move spaceship from Cetus Heroes to Star Atlas to Big Time. I'm just mentioning some of the big names, big games in the space. Now it truly, like, I own it. Like the same way I would own things in my suitcase, and if I go to any country, they're with me because they're my assets. I own that digital spaceship, and that spaceship allows me to conquer new planets, and I can make money doing it because I can conquer a new planet and mine precious metals for this planet. And then people can pay me for these precious metals to build their own spaceships. I don't want to digress too much. I'm going back to the point of actually owning an asset. For people like gamers right now, as a starting point, that's exciting. That's something they've never experienced before. And there's other areas where self-custody is a must. Obviously, when you're in countries now, I'm pretty spoiled being in countries like Dubai, and I'm originally from Australia. I don't have to worry much about the government taking over my assets. But if you're in Venezuela, if you're in some Eastern European countries, some Asian or African countries, owning something and not having to depend on the bank or the government to take it away from you suddenly became a lot more valuable. Now I can travel to a new country with a code and all my wealth comes with me. That changes everything about the decisions these people have to make. So long term, self-custody is going to be pretty fascinating to see its implications, because you can self-custody your cash right now. It's just a bit inconvenient, but you can self-custody it. But no one's doing it. Everyone's putting it into banks because they want to be plugged into the financial system. So will the system allow anyone that has self-custody of their digital assets to just be plugged in? Or are we going to see centralization? We see humans congregate around central entities again for convenience. It's an experiment, man. I just don't know where it will go. Obviously, I'm a big supporter of decentralization, but very pragmatically.
Yeah, that's very clear. Well, let's shift a little bit about the future of NFTs. Most people think it's a JPEG. Let's talk about some other use cases and where you see it going in the future.
I wrote a tweet today. I sent it to my team, so they probably scheduled it for a few days from now. And the tweet is like, NFTs is not an asset class. NFTs is a technology. And then I wrote under it, just to jab at a lot of these NFT influencers that just don't know what they're talking about. And I said, if you don't understand what this means, you shouldn't be in the space. Now, this is, again, a jab at anyone in the space, because if you're in the space, you need to understand this. Now, for people outside the space, you'll find this very interesting. People still think, like, for me, it's crazy that people still think NFTs are PFPs, those pictures, because I'm way past that. But then I realized I'm so deep into it. That's why it's so odd for me to say that, for others to say this, that NFTs are PFPs. But then when I start speaking to them, they don't understand that NFTs is just digital ownership. I just gave you an example of owning a spaceship or any asset within a game. Well, what if you own your identity as an NFT? No. Forget about the government, a government issued card. Where's my ID? It's on my other phone. Forget about a government issued card that the government has to say this is your ID. Imagine you have an ID that you own. That means you can share it with anyone anywhere in the world. And if the government of where you live, because there's a lot of people that don't even have an ID. There's people in the US that don't have an ID, which is crazy to me. So if we allow them to create that ID that is immutable on the blockchain, that's pretty fascinating. That's an NFT. Financial instruments could be NFTs. Tokenizing real estate. I say I tokenize my house. That house is an NFT. It's my house. It's what I own this house. It's a unique asset, a non-fungible asset. And then I tokenize it. The list goes on. The amount, like anything you own in the physical world could be represented by an NFT, which is digital ownership. That's it. NFT is digital ownership. Forget about art. Forget about collectibles. Just think of owning things. When you put something in your pocket, imagine putting something in your pocket digitally.
Yeah, I think one of the concepts that helped me better understand and then later explain it to those that don't even really understand Bitcoin is before, if you had an MP3 file and you wanted to share that music with someone else, you copied and pasted it. Now we have something in the digital world that can't be duplicated, counterfeited. It's its own unique asset, and there's only one of them.
Yeah, when I say it's only one of them, people start getting confused. They're like, hey, anyone could make that photo. And then I have to explain to them, yes, anyone could copy the Mona Lisa, but there's only one real one. So with the ability to own something, it prevents anyone from copying. Like, you can still copy paste. Like, I don't want people to think they can't copy paste. You can copy paste things in the physical world, counterfeit goods, and you can copy paste things in the digital world, right click, left click, or right click copy. So when you say you own something, that means, let's say this is a virtual bottle. I'm in the metaverse right now, okay? This is my bottle. Now, anyone could just copy the code and make it. Yep, you made it, you made it, you made it. But this is still mine. And I can prove this is different to all the others because I own it. And technologically, I can own it. So that's how I would describe it to someone. Imagine in the physical world, and first time I make this comparison, imagine in the physical world, people could just touch your product and copy it. Okay? Yeah, anyone could copy this, but it's still mine. It has my saliva in it because I'm drinking from it. It has my fingerprints on it. It's my water bottle. Now, water bottle is not as exciting to be unique because water is fungible. But now think about the same thing. But when you're talking about an authentic branded hat or t-shirt, you want to prove this is real because it has value. Or more extreme is an ID. Anyone can copy my ID, but I've got technological proof this is mine. And there's no way to change that proof. You can copy paste visually, but you cannot copy paste the code behind it that proves I own it.
Yeah, and just take that as another step forward with the ID example. It's also associated to only you, that link, unbreakable link. But with that being said, let's move into Bitcoin just a little bit. Do you believe that Web3 is more important than Bitcoin?
Funny, just yesterday, we had, we did a pitch. We do like Shark Tank pitches on my show. We had a project pitch called Tiny Tap. Great project, and I could have used them as an example. They've just been acquired by Animoca Brands, and they are creating an NFT that represents a course and that generates revenue. So it's like another application of NFTs. That's not pictures. I could have used that as an example. Anyway, I loved what the company's doing, and I was speaking very highly of these guys. And I brought a Bitcoin maxi. For anyone that doesn't know, a Bitcoin maxi is someone that just believes Bitcoin will rule them all and everything else doesn't matter. That's an extreme Bitcoin maxi. And I bring someone I respect dearly, a very smart guy, to just give us his thoughts on the NFT project, because I knew it would be negative, to kind of balance it out, be an interesting discussion. But then the discussion got really interesting because I had a lot of people in the Web3 world, and so I have a lot of Bitcoin maxis on my show. Now I had Tone Vase on my physical panel just last week in Dubai.
Very cool.
And funny enough, we all agree. Like what do the Bitcoin guys say? They say NFTs make sense. Digital ownership makes sense. All these platforms being built, the decentralizing different applications, like decentralizing Uber or decentralizing DeFi, for example, and decentralizing finance, they all make sense, but they only make sense if they're truly decentralized, and they have to be on Bitcoin to be decentralized. So if you're referring to the Bitcoin blockchain, it is Web3 because it allows digital ownership, which is what Web3 stands for, the transfer of value. So Bitcoin is Web3. Now, if talking about Bitcoin as the store of value now, earlier thought of as a medium of exchange, another thing we concluded on yesterday, which was really cool, and I made a tweet about it, we started off as like a discussion of Bitcoin versus other blockchains, and then we ended up with an ode to Bitcoin. What do I mean by this? NFTs are sexy. Digital ownership is sexy. But nothing is going to impact society as much as Bitcoin acting as a store of value and a transfer of value and a potentially medium of exchange. Because we're blessed to be in a country, I'm guessing you're in a Western country, and or an advanced economy. I'm in an advanced economy as well. We're relatively well off. We forget people are stuck in countries in Africa, Lebanon, Latin America, where they don't have access to the financial system. They don't have a way to store their value without the government messing it up for them. So I think everything we're doing is incredible, but Bitcoin, the problem Bitcoin is solving, which was really sexy back in 2018. Everyone loved to talk about the problem Bitcoin was solving and banking the unbanked. Remember those days? Everyone's like, we're banking the unbanked. What happened to that today? Everyone's excited about the metaverse and NFTs, including me. That's sexy, but nothing is as important as banking the unbanked, and nothing will lead to more potential equality and opportunities as that. So again, ode to Bitcoin.
Amazing. Yeah, and I like how you essentially said Bitcoin is Web3, and that, of course, is with the definition of Web3, bringing ownership to the digital space. It'll be amazing to
Yeah,
see
you've got Bitcoin NFTs, man. You've got Bitcoin deep. We're invested in. I don't know if we bought any Bitcoin NFTs, but we're invested in various projects that are building on the Bitcoin ecosystem. So it is Web3, and that's a fact.
That's very cool. I have not looked into it very much. Is that with the DeFi chain? I think that's what they call it.
There's one project we're invested in called Portal Finance. They closed their round a while ago. So they're building DeFi on top of Bitcoin, and obviously you know about Stacks. I don't think we're invested in Stacks. Yep. There's a bunch of others. I just don't know. The team would know their names, but Portal's one I know because I was involved in the process.
Awesome. And what are some other business opportunities you're working on right now?
Something we're doing is really, at first, IBC incubates a lot of projects. We're growing our media reach. So right now, and most people don't know the assets we own in the media world, we're very stealthy about them, but our reach is in the millions right now in the crypto space. Most people don't know that because it's different brands. But one interesting thing we're doing is that I can't disclose it yet, and they'll kill me probably in a few weeks. But essentially, I'll just say there's a lot of cheap assets in the NFT space. It's ridiculous. And if you understand the space, you'll see opportunities that haven't existed for a long time that make me more excited than I was in the bull run. I know I'm being very, secretive about this, but I just cannot share it. But I just want people excited about the space and telling them there's so much opportunity that if anything, most people are moving, doing other things outside of crypto. While in the bear market, I'm doing the opposite. Like I'm completely stepped away out of my other businesses outside of crypto this year, not in the bull run, this year, to focus fully on crypto. So it's just everything's on sale.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. When you think about some of those, the metaverse tokens, they've been crushed a lot. Many are down more than 90%. I'd love to hear your take on why that is.
I was talking to, there's a project we're incubating called Metaverse. Funny enough, Metaverse, no second E. Yeah, no second E. And they have a project called The Mall, themall.io. Incredible technology, but that's why we're incubating them. We barely incubate a project every 3 months. Incredible tech, incredible team. They work with some of the top brands. They're above everything. And I'm seeing like these guys would have been worth billions in the bull run. And there've been projects back in the bull run that were just trash, that were doing well. So, and I was having a call with them today. I'm like, guys, it's insane. Like, it's crazy. The reasons, like, why humans, man, like, we're so crazy as a species. A year ago, Meta was genius. Meta as in Facebook. Mark was genius rebranding Facebook to Meta, and their stock shut up. Now suddenly he's an idiot for that rebrand. What changed in a year? What changed in that year? It's insane how people think. So we're being humans. I think we're just being emotional. Before we had too much exuberance, thinking the metaverse will change the world we live in today. People not understanding what it means, not understanding that we live in the metaverse right now. We live in that digital world right now, and have for many years. And now they're like, okay, actually it's all a bunch of hype. And they don't even know that, hey, no, we have digital ownership. You can have metaverses that are worth more than countries, because a whole country could be replicated digitally. No joke. Like, you can have entire economies and ecosystems and people living similar to Ready Player One in a virtual ecosystem. Imagine the value of those companies. And if you think I'm crazy, who would have thought 5 decades ago that we'd have companies worth $1 trillion today? And we do. I would not be surprised in our lifetime that we see a virtual metaverse that has a bigger economy, a bigger GDP than some of the top 10 economies in today's age. I would not be surprised.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know if any of the viewers have seen that chart of how many users are on Facebook versus some of the largest countries in the world. It's not that hard to believe when you really look at the facts and what we've already accomplished in the digital world so far.
Well said, man. Well said. If Facebook is an ecosystem, they're gonna build the metaverse, their own metaverse. They change their name to Meta, which is, let's say that in 10 years' time, that metaverse gets so advanced, we spend most of our day there. No, I'm sitting on Facebook. I mean, doing business there, making friends, having romantic relationships, signaling certain identities by wearing branded clothes in that metaverse, playing games, social, everything in that the virtual world, wearing your Oculus or whatever. And there's 3 billion people there. Let's say all their users go there. I think they got 3 billion users. That's a digital world, a digital economy with 3 billion users. What country compares to that?
It's definitely a good question to think about. And I know that you're really excited about Play to Earn. I initially learned a lot about you through your episode on the Bad Crypto Podcast. They're friends of our show as well. I'd love to just dive into that before we close up. Can you tell me a little bit about, Play to Earn? It's become very popular very quickly, but what exactly is it for those not familiar?
It's not that exciting, Play to Earn. Play to Earn is essentially the ability to earn money while playing a game. It got a lot of hype. For me, so what? You can earn money going on Upwork and offering services. There's so many ways you can earn money virtually. Playing a game and earning money is just another way. It's not going to change the world. People in the Philippines that make money playing Axie Infinity could make money playing working on Upwork as well. So then the question would be like, Mario, why are you so excited about Play to Earn games? Well, Play to Earn games is just a term. Essentially means Web3 games, decentralized games. For me, that's the most exciting space in the short term in crypto, short to medium term. Why? Well, I just gave you an example earlier in the episode of owning your spaceship, owning your gun, owning your house, owning your empire. You can own anything in those games and make money through leveraging those assets, and then move those assets from ecosystem to ecosystem, have your own community. You can build an empire similar to Star Wars in those games. And that's the stepping stone for the virtual world we're going to live in. Gaming will be the first step as we all enter the metaverse. Gamers are always early adopters, and they will love the concept of ownership in a game because it just makes sense to them once they understand it. And being able to own an asset, trade an asset, and move an asset from one place to another. And then slowly, games will become a place like similar to what happened to Second Life many years ago. It becomes a social world where you socialize and communicate with your friends and make new friends, and you meet your girlfriend or boyfriend. And then now that we're socializing there, let's do education there. Then people start doing courses there. Like they go to a world, they go on a spaceship altogether, a bus spaceship, go to a world and sit there in a classroom and listen to their courses. Suddenly now you got a game, but with education built into it. And then later, people entrepreneurs start realizing, hey, shit, I can get a land there and mine, and I come up with metals, and then those metals, I sell them to people that make ships. Oh, hold on, I can make a ship factory. It's going to cost me that much, but the returns are that much. All right, it could be a good business. And then I can actually use that token. I get that token in return and turn it into dollars. Now you've got an economy, you've got business people moving there, you've got events happening there. And suddenly that game is no longer just a game. It's the game of life.
Incredible. Wow. Well, it's definitely amazing what all is now possible, with true digital ownership, and of course, ongoing innovations will make even more possible in the Web3 space. I definitely can't wait to get this out to our subscribers. Thanks so much for joining us, Mario.
Appreciate it, Jonathan. Take care, man.
This audio interview is an original broadcast provided by CryptoCurrencyWire. CryptoCurrencyWire, CCW, is a CryptoWire news and content distribution syndicate that provides access to a syndicate of wire services via InvestorWire to reach all target markets, industries, and demographics in the most effective manner possible. CryptoCurrencyWire is another brand under the Investor Brand Network. Investor Brand Network may receive payments for corporate communication relations, as well as various press releases and social media solutions provided to its clients. you should assume that officers and directors of Investor Brand Network or financial analysts mentioned hold a position in and may intend to trade the securities for their own accounts. This interview is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell securities. Information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be, or should it be construed, as investment advice. As in all investments, investment in the featured company carries an investment risk. Listeners should review the company thoroughly with the registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This audio interview by Investor Brand Network is not purport to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used and statements of fact have been obtained from featured company and other sources, but not verified nor guaranteed by Investor Brand Network as to completeness and accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice. Please see our full disclaimers and disclosures at investorbrandnetwork.com.